My dear sisters and brothers in Christ, these past few days have been tumultuous, to say the least. The decision to make leadership changes at Second Harvest Food Bank has caused anger and confusion in our local church and the broader community. There are many complex issues that have contributed to my reluctance to address these issues in a more timely manner. I take full responsibility for the confusion this delay has caused. I understand that our community is deeply, deeply concerned, and I want to assure everyone that the Archdiocese of New Orleans and Second Harvest Bank are united in our commitment to feed the hungry and to fight food insecurity in South Louisiana. Not a single dollar from donor donations has ever been used for anything other than the mission of Second Harvest. And their mission is to address food insecurity in South Louisiana. I want to assure you there was no demand from the Archdiocese of New Orleans for a $16 million contribution towards the settlement. There is no settlement, and no one has asked any entity of the Archdiocese for any contribution to it. Rather, the $16 million was a figure discussed in theory and conversation as a path for Second Harvest to divest itself, meaning that it would essentially purchase the assets and completely separate itself from the Archdiocese of New Orleans. 2 years ago, I received a letter from Second Harvest Board asking me to remove myself as the sole member of Second Harvest. After a series of meetings, we were able to mitigate the issues, and things remained as they were. Recently, after a series of communications and costly legal action taken by Second Harvest, that request again came from some members of the board. After much prayerful reflection and with the counsel of other members of the church, I decided that the Archdiocese would entertain the concept of Second Harvest formally ending our relationship. At that time, individuals representing the Archdiocese were sent to meet with a member of the executive board to discuss, in theory, the terms of a separation. A legal separation would include Second Harvest purchasing the assets that are controlled by the sole member. It was in this meeting that there were some discussions about what the cost of such a separation would be. While it has been reported that abuse survivors do not want money from Second Harvest, the committee representing abuse survivors filed a lawsuit in 2022 seeking assets of several ministries, specifically naming Second Harvest. The court dismissed the lawsuit as premature because of an agreement that would allow time for parties to negotiate without the expense of litigation. My friends, this tolling agreement, as it is called, was up for renewal, and the failure to renew the agreement would have opened Second Harvest and all of our other Catholic agencies to needless and costly litigation. Second Harvest's refusal to renew this agreement not only put their assets at risk, but also the assets of other Catholic ministries, specifically parishes and schools in our Archdiocese. The deadline to execute this agreement was January 31st, 2025. This is why the very difficult decision to transition leadership was made. Second Harvest Food Bank is an incredible force for good in our community. They answer the gospel to feed the hungry every day. Their good work will go on uninterrupted, with their experienced and committed staff continuing their mission. The board of directors, with some new membership, will continue to help guide the organization and work with the recruitment firm to select a new leader who will build on the strong foundation that exists at Second Harvest. The decision to transition the leadership was difficult and very sad. The misrepresentations reported in the media have caused confusion and anger and put the dedicated staff of Second Harvest in an unfair position. The characterizations of the Archdiocese as stealing money from the hungry are completely false. The most difficult part of this is that it may have been preventable if the parties, including myself, would have put aside our pride and negotiated in good faith without threats of litigation. Please know that I remain committed to leading our local church and to making the best decisions possible for the Archdiocese, even when those decisions are difficult and unpleasant. We will continue to work to ensure the safety of Second Harvest and its mission. We ask you to continue to support this critical mission. Be assured for my prayers for the community and for the successful and peaceful transition at Second Harvest. May God bring us peace and hope.